Hi everyone, this is William from the Headphone Experience, and I'm here tonight with something a little bit different. This is my best of 2019 video. What I want to tell you in this is what products I thought were the best for the dollar, the most bang for the buck, the best values. And first of all, I want to let you know this video only includes what I have reviewed this year. I'm not going to give you my opinion on headphones or amps that I haven't personally heard or reviewed. So it's only what I've reviewed, and I only review what is loaned to me. So, that's where we're at right now. Some companies have been more generous than others as far as loaning out equipment. A few of the cheaper items I've bought, but the majority of the reviews I do are loaned equipment. I'm just letting you know there are some very nice amps and headphones that I did review this year that are not on this list. And that's because I just, think that they weren't the exceptional value that some of these items were. So basically, I'm going to break this into three categories. The first will be headphones and earphones. And the second's going to be headphone amps and then accessories. So I'm going to get started, and I'm going to work my way from least expensive to most expensive, give you what I think are the best values in different price ranges. So I'm going to start with the Venture Electronics Bonus IEM. This is a little IEM that I got in the middle of last year, and this thing sells for $20. And I just have to say, this thing is outrageously good for the price. I mean, this thing sounds like probably $200 or $300 pair of headphones and an IEM, and like I said, goes for $20, and it could be the deal of the year. But just a fantastic little IEM, and they have not only have a ton of bass, but it's really high quality, tight, controlled bass, and the treble extension is good. The frequency response is very balanced, and I just love the things, and at $20 they can't be beat. So moving up the ladder a little bit would be the Philips SHP 9500, which is a full-size over-the-ear headphone. The retail price of that is about $90, and I think you can currently find them for about $70. And just a really well-balanced, what I would consider an entry-level audiophile headphone. Just good tone balance, good bass extension, good treble extension, just an overall really nice sounding headphone. I mean, not the best headphone I've ever heard, but for the price, it's just outrageously good. So something I highly recommend. Once again, the Philips SHP 9500. Next on my list, at just a few dollars more, would be the Grotto, or you may call it Grado, SR80E, which sells for $99. And just another headphone that is just incredibly good for the price. Super detail. I mean, as far as detail and clarity, this thing can keep up with headphones at 10 times this price. It can get a little bright at times, and a few people say the bass is a little bit on the light side, and I agree with that, but still very, very nice, what I would once again call an entry-level audiophile headphone. Moving up the price ladder a little bit, at $350, I highly recommend the Hi-Fi Man Sandara. I know there have been some quality control issues. I've had the Sandara for, I don't know, a year, over a year now, and close to a year and a half, and I've had no problems with it. The only problem I did have was the stock cable that came with it. The connection at the left ear cup, I guess something came loose in it and the left channel was cutting out, but it was the cable, not the headphone. I contacted Hi-Fi Man, they sent me a new one. I had it in the mail in about a week, and the problem was resolved. So anyway, Just a headphone that is what I would consider dead on neutral. It's not for bass heads. Some people think the bass is a little light. I personally like it, but sometimes I do like to boost the bass a couple decibels. But just exceptional detail and clarity, very good treble extension. It has one of the best trebles of any headphone I've heard. And originally sold for $500, and I believe you can currently get it for $350. So once again, on my recommended product list. Moving up a little bit would be the $769 Kennington Magni, which is a closed back headphone with a graphene driver. It's a dynamic type driver. And it's one of the few closed back headphones I've heard so far. And I just absolutely love this headphone. You can check out my full review on any of these that I'm mentioning tonight. But anyway, that headphone, in my opinion, can hold its own against any headphone I have heard at any price. And I'm talking several headphones over $2,000, a couple even over $3,000. This headphone, the Kennington Magni, can hold its own. It just has exceptional clarity and detail. The bass extension is one of the best I've heard. It's not a bass head headphone. It doesn't hit real hard, but it goes super low. The extension is excellent. The treble extension is excellent. Just like I said, this thing can hold its own against any headphone I've heard. It retails at $769, and I just found out, I was looking up prices, the thing is currently on sale for $577. So just an exceptional deal in my opinion. Moving up the price ladder a little higher, I'm going to recommend the Hi-Fi Man Aria. Reviewed that last summer. It's just an exceptionally sounding headphone with no real flaws. Excellent bass extension. Once again, not a bass head headphone. Very light, very comfortable, excellent clarity and detail. Very large sound stage, and my only issue with that is the headphone's pretty much made almost entirely of plastic, and some people say it feels a little cheap for that kind of price of $15.99. But as far as sound quality, I think the thing holds its own with anything in the $3,000 range. So highly recommend the Hi-Fi Man Aria. If all that plastic and the sort of not the best build quality is an issue for you, then for slightly more, I'm going to recommend the Kennington Odin. Kennington Odin is an exceptionally good sounding headphone in my opinion. It takes you almost all the way to the sound of the Kennington's Roar, their flagship headphone, which sells for about $3,400. The Odin has what I would consider perfect tone balance, exceptional clarity and detail, just a smoothness, a richness, a liquid sound, and just one of the best sounding headphones I've ever heard. And it retails at $2,160, and I know that's not, that's a lot of money, but it is currently on sale for $1,631, and at that price, I think it's an exceptional deal. I think it's one of the best headphones I've ever heard at any price. The only thing I want to warn you about it is heavy. I think it goes about 680 grams. It's comfortable, and it has really nice soft leather ear pads. And the weight doesn't bother me at all, but at that kind of weight, it is one of the heaviest headphones that I've reviewed. So, think about that, if that's an issue or not. Some people just cannot, listen to a heavy headphone long term. It doesn't bother me at all, and like I said, I think it's one of the best deals out there. So I'm going to get into headphone amps, and starting at the bottom, once again, lower price, I'm going to highly recommend the JDS Labs Atom amp that sells for $99. I did first impressions on it. I last week. I haven't done a full review, but I can tell you right now the thing has exceptional clarity and detail, almost to the point of being analytical. It is going to bring out everything on a recording. And at $99, you just can't beat the thing. If you need a budget amp, and I mean, I've used this thing with headphones up to $2,000, and they didn't reveal any flaws. I mean, besides from maybe a slight dryness to the sound, a little bit of a lack of musicality compared to some of the more expensive amps, but like I said, for $99, you can't beat it. Another amp, and I actually reviewed this in 2018, but it's still available, and as far as I know, everything on this list is still available, is a Burson Fun, which is a little 2.1 watt pure Class A amp, and just an excellent sound, just beautiful, and it sells for $299. And in that price range, I haven't heard anything that I think can beat it, and I think it holds its own against other headphone amps I've heard up, in the 2-3 times that price. I mean, just a really nice sounding amp, and you can switch out the op amps in it, and I tried both the classic and the Vivid op amps, which changed the sound a little bit, and really like that amp. So for $299, highly recommend it. Up a little higher in the price range would be the Felix Audio Echo, which is a tube amp. In fact, it's an OTL type of tube amp, output transformer-less, and it's recommended for high impedance headphones, but I've tried it with everything down to 32 ohm headphones, and in fact it makes the Grotto SR80 sound the best I've ever heard it by far from any amp. But this amp sells for $679 in the US, and it just has a beautiful, warm, rich sound. Not the slightest bit of harshness. It's just beautiful. I just love the sound of it, and I've used this amp with headphones over $3,000, and Felix refers to it as an entry-level tube amp, but I mean, it just doesn't sound entry-level to me. I mean, this is a fantastic sounding amp, and many times my amp of choice for casual listening, even with $3,000 headphones. So once again, highly recommend Felix Audio Echo tube amp at $679. Up the ladder a little bit would be the Audio GD Master 9, which has been sort of my reference amp for the last maybe a year or so. Sells for $14.20, I believe, is the current price, and there is some pretty significant shipping costs because the amp weighs 32 pounds. In the box it goes about 40, and getting it here from China, I believe, was about $118, but it only took 6 days to get here, so I thought it'd take a lot longer. But just a really nice, exceptionally clean, exceptionally detailed amp with unlimited power and a lot of different output choices. I think it has about 5 inputs, and just, very versatile amp that works on just about anything. It's quiet enough for IEMs and has enough power for any planar magnetic headphone that I've thrown at it. So Audio GD Master 9, really recommend that. And then up at the little higher in the price range and currently selling for $2,000 in the US would be the SPL Phonitor XE, and probably the nicest amp I've heard to this day. I reviewed it last summer, I guess, and just an exceptionally clean, clear, refined sound, and it also has what they call the matrix, which is it's a cross-feed circuitry that's adjustable in several ways. You can adjust the angle, you can adjust the time delay, you can adjust the how much crossfeed there is, by a percentage, from just a low percentage of crossfeed to a high percentage. Anyway, it's a beautiful amp, and it has those level meters on it. It's balanced. I found no flaws with it. It's got plenty of power for any headphone. And like I said, probably the nicest amp I've heard. I know it's not cheap at $2,000, but I think you would have to spend quite a bit more than that to probably find anything that would be significantly better than the SPL Phonitor XE or EX. So, you know, I realize we're up into kind of high end, but I think it's a really good deal for that price. So anyway, I also wanted to mention a couple of accessories. One would be the Shit Loki 4-band equalizer. I believe I did a second look at it in 2019. Originally I did my review in 18. But it's just a little $149 graphic equalizer with 4 bands, and in my opinion you can fix the tone balance of pretty much any headphone with it. If a headphone is lacking bass, you can boost the bass and make it sound the way you want. If it's too bright or lacking treble, you can adjust it, and basically for $149 you can fix the tone balance of any headphone to what you like, to your preference, without adding any distortion or background noise. The thing's dead silent, and anyway, highly recommend that. And something else I wanted to mention is the Apache 2800 hard case, which is a case, I did a video on it about 1.5 years ago. I think the video was how to protect your expensive headphones. And anyway, this case, it's pretty much a copy of the Pelican hard cases, but it sells for $29.95 at Harbor Freight Tools. And you know, for that price it can't be beat. It's full of foam and little cubes, and they pull apart, and you can form it to fit any headphone, and it's waterproof, it's dustproof. I can stand on the thing without smashing it, and I've got 5 of them right now that I use to protect some of my more expensive headphones, and just think the thing's a great deal. So last thing I wanted to mention was I picked what I thought was the product of the year, the best product that came out in 2019 at the best price. And I mentioned it earlier, and that would be the Kennington Magni headphone. This is a closed back dynamic driver with a graphene driver, and like I said, I think this headphone will hold its own against anything up to and over $3,000. You know, it's not the best headphone I've ever heard, but it's not lacking in anything. I just perfect tone balance, clear, detailed, great extension at both ends. The only small flaw I can point out, oh, and it's light and comfortable too. The only very small flaw is because of being a closed back, the sound stage is slightly narrow on it. But you know, really for a closed back, it's really good, and it's only slightly narrower than most of the open back headphones. So anyway, I love this headphone, and I'm going to declare this my product of the year for 2019. Normally sells for $769 and is on sale for $577 right now. My opinion, you can't find a headphone that will even touch this anywhere near that price. So anyway, that's it for my most bang for the buck of 2009 video, and I'm gonna wrap this up. So once again, this is William from the Headphone Experience. If this video has helped you, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you're all welcome to join us at the Headphone Experience on Facebook. Thank you.